Good afternoon. This is the meeting of the Police Accountability Board for Prince George's County, Maryland. Today's date is October 8th, 2025. Welcome, everyone. I will call the roll. If you are in person, just say present. If you are virtual, just say present virtually. Sanchez? Mr. James? Vice Chair James? Present. Mrs. Bryant?
Here virtually.
Oh. Mrs. Springs?
Here virtually.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Coleman?
Virtually.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Jones?
I'm here. Excuse me, here.
Melton?
Present.
Mr. O'Neill?
Present.
Mrs. Maxwell?
Present virtually.
Thank you. All right, we have one moving on to our agenda. And Attorney
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I am also here present virtually.
You sounded like the voice of God. You just caught me off guard. Okay, thank you.
I didn't mean to scare you. I'm sorry.
No, if I hear his voice, I know I'm good. Thank you, sir. No. Next up, review and approval of minutes from 9/10/2025. Does anyone need additional time reviewing those minutes?
One question.
Yes, sir.
I don't recall, but we had the Woodlawn Community Association meeting. Did someone agree to do that presentation? I know it's noted in the other ones. I didn't remember if someone agreed to do that.
Is that the one you went to? No, that was.
No, this one is coming up November 20th.
Oh, right, okay.
And I'm just saying the other ones that we have, the
Yes,
board member
somebody.
has agreed. And I'm just trying to figure out who that was that agreed to it.
Does anyone remember who was going to make a presentation at the Woodlawn Community Association on November 20th?
Yeah, this is Sheila Bryan. I'd be happy to do it.
Mhm. All right, is there a motion to approve the minutes, or do we have any other questions?
I move to approve the September 10th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the September 10th, 2025 minutes made by Vice Chair James. Is there a second?
Seconded by Melton.
Seconded by Mr. Melton. All in favor to approve the minutes of September 10th, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? All in favor, unanimous. Minutes are approved.
Yeah, I had a question. As far as the order for the agenda, are we approving the agenda? Wait, we've adopted rules to do that, or is that something that we're not doing?
Okay, well, I didn't see it here, so, before we go any further, we'll go ahead and approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda for October 8th.
Thank you, sir. Motion made to approve the agenda today's agenda of October 8th, 2025 by Mr. Melton.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Bryant. Second made by Mrs. Bryant. All in favor to approve the agenda for October 8th, 2025, say aye.
Do you have two additions
Oh.
or possible additions?
Okay.
One, our last meeting, we were potentially going into closed session to discuss a case. I wanted to know if that was something the board was willing to add to the agenda.
Can you speak into the mic?
Yeah, sorry.
Mhm.
Sorry, apologize. I made a recommendation that we add a matter in a case that was on our previous meeting agenda to this one, which will require us to go into closed session.
So did everyone hear Mr. Melton? Okay.
No, I didn't hear.
Oh, he said he wanted to see if we could add an agenda item to review a specific case that would need to be in closed session.
Oh, okay. Do we have to vote on that?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion, or did he make a motion?
Okay. I'm sorry.
We don't
Say that-
need a motion.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
right now, it's just added to the agenda.
Oh, okay.
When you do that little speech thing.
My speech then. Okay.
That's very technical.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
I also have one.
Okay.
I know we had also discussed,
Well, I think he had one more.
I'm sorry.
Or just one.
Oh, you said one, or you said a couple? So just that one, okay.
Okay, and then the one I had was we discussed, closed session for personnel discussion related to AHP. Ken,
Okay.
I had the other one as well as that second one.
Okay, so HB candidate, we can do that in closed session too, correct? Or we want to be
That
specific?
one, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we can add those to agenda items.
Are they being added under new business?
It's gonna be under closed session, right? It's both of them need.
Another section. But it can be under old business, but we're going to close, we'll make a motion to go into closed session.
One question.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. James, when you brought it up last time about the AHB, is this new?
I believe Mr. Melton had referred that at the last meeting.
So both of them are old, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
We hadn't had a discussion on them, that's what I'm saying. I think they're new business
Right.
that needed to be added. They are not old, meaning we previously discussed them and are coming back to them.
Well, then it's still, it's fine to be in old, because you've already
Okay,
asked for it.
so, okay. Is that it? Okay. So, Mr. Melton, I'm sorry, and you, who made the motion initially? You did, sir, thank you. Motion, someone seconded?
So the motion was to approve the agenda,
Yes.
and then
With the
someone
addition.
seconded
The
it,
edits.
I thought
and then I raised a comment for discussion.
Okay.
it
Yes,
was
sir.
Ms. Bryant.
Oh, okay, thank you. So I just wanted to make sure. Okay, Ms. Bryant. So all in favor to approve today's agenda with,
Then I have one other thing.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I noticed subcommittees were missing data analytics.
Yes.
Listed them all, so that wasn't listed on subcommittee.
Yeah, so data analytics, we're not going to report out to that until the next meeting. That's why it's not on this report, on the agenda. Any others? All right. So, motion made to approve today's agenda, October 8th, 2025, with additional old business HB appointments, which will go into closed session, as well as a case discussion. So, motion was made by Mr. Melton, and seconded by Mrs. Bryant. All in favor to approve that in today's agenda with those additions, say aye.
Aye.
Sounds like it's unanimous to me. All right, approved. All right, presentation of data survey. Ms. O'Gini, thank you so much for doing that. I know you sent it out. Would it be possible if we move on to our next agenda item, and then if we have enough time, we'll come back to you, because we have some other things to add. And if we aren't able to get to that, I know that you sent it out, send it out one more time? Sure. Okay, thank you so much. All right, so next up, we'll go to the subcommittee reports and updates, appointments and nominations.
All right, so we have an opportunity today to go into closed session. As you all should be aware, we left off with recommending a number of AHB candidates who had submitted their information, including resumes and interest letters, for possible selection. We would move to make a recommendation about these individuals, but I think in closed session, we can garner the feedback from the rest of the board. It is our hope that you all reviewed the resumes that were sent out by staff prior to the last meeting. And so in that session, we can hear if there are any reservations about any of the candidates. As an update, we shared with you all that the next training, trial board civilian training, is October 28th. We had hoped in our last meeting, which was subsequently canceled, to move forward with interviews, but without confirmation from the board, because of that meeting's cancellation, we didn't feel like it would be good to move forward. And so therefore, we want to move to that step today, which would probably not be in the best, put us not in the best position to be able to have these candidates make that training on the 28th. Based on staff's recommendation and just again, it being important that we handle ourselves with good conduct and professionalism and not try to do this at the very last minute. Also not putting these candidates in a position that is last minute for them. We want to elect to try to move to the next training whenever it is in the first quarter of 2026. AHB does have trial boards scheduled throughout the rest of the year, and they have individuals assigned. I think we have about 7 seats filled right now, and so we are pretty good through the end of the year, but we don't want to stop our momentum, so we want to continue, but just wanted to highlight that we won't be pushing to have these individuals, if they are interviewed and selected, attending the training October 20th.
Question. So let me get straight. If we were at the meeting 2 weeks ago, when was we going to do the interviews?
As soon as possible. We were going to try to schedule it based on like availability, and it was probably going to be that next following week because we were really trying to expedite the process. But obviously, considering the candidates' availability too, we're just going to try to get in touch with them and figure that out. It still would have been pushing it, but once we had that meeting canceled, just kind of the time frame was too short.
Because when we sent it, if we would have sent it out, then we had put on their questions and asked them would they be available for 28.
Yeah, and I think that's what we did last time, because again, we pushed it to the last minute, so we were trying to get as much information about scheduling as we could. So we would have probably done that too.
I know, I was just thinking this, because you're talking about 20 days from the day. So for the training, we did some stuff, some interviews, like next week or something. Was you going to do a special session to do the interviews like we did with some of the other candidates?
Yeah, so we were going to mimic the last process where we scheduled like a couple days back to back. We were going to push for that following week, whatever days were best for staff and the potential candidates, and then move forward with interviews. Once they're selected, I think we actually made our assessments that night, the second night, and we would have been able to have staff contact them to check into their availability.
And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know that. How many candidates would they have response?
I think we have 9 that went.
We would have to interview.
Well, if the PAB agrees that these people are viable and there's no issue with reservation, then yeah, we would go forward. I think it might be 8. I don't want to misspeak, but the 8 would have been 8 interviews. Yeah.
And we had to pick how many?
How many we want. We can do 8, we can do, but again, if the interviews will be based on our assessment of whether they were fit.
Mr. Melton.
Yes.
Next up, subcommittee reports on case and complaints.
So our case review committee, we met and had some further progress about decisions about how we're going to, again, a previous decision that we shared with the board was to target our assessment on cases that led to a request for an appeal or a trial board. And so we are still going to pursue that process, and we intend to reach out to collect as many of, or all of the cases that fit that category and begin breaking down the data. Well, I guess we began breaking down which particular data points that we want to isolate or focus on once we do the case review. Just as some examples, we came up with a short list of things we're going to pay attention to. And then as we review an initial case, we're going to confirm with one another to see if there, and share if there are any other areas or categorical like input for the cases that we think is also important to pull out. Obviously, if we take those particular data points and make comparisons and contrast amongst what we're seeing, I think we can then draw some theories or hypotheses about what could be contributing to an officer wanting to go further into a trial board. So one of which is looking at what particular LEAs are involved, what are the basic charges and initial categories that are specified in these particular cases, that delineating those that are resolved, which means they've already had a trial board, and those that may have a trial board to come, so they're unresolved. And then also making determinations about those final disciplines that were imposed through some of these cases. So again, we hope to look at this holistically, but until we have the cases, we don't know if there might be additional data points that we want to pull and extrapolate from what we're reviewing. And I will open the floor to anybody else on a subgroup that might have anything to add.
Nothing
So
to add
again,
here.
we are going to, our objective is to quickly attain all of the cases that fit this category and begin our review process, give ourselves an internal timeline. And then, again, obviously we won't be able to establish a timeline until we know how many cases that are. If it's 5 or if it's 30, we're going to need different time, obviously, to get that review done. Once we do that, we're going to come back together and have discussion about what we observed, what we were able to read, and what takeaways that we were able to pull from it according to those different data points that we think are pretty important. Once we're able to do that, I think that we may actually have perhaps some information that could be included in the annual report, possibly even some recommendations.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Melton. That was it?
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Next up is community outreach.
Right.
Community outreach subcommittee report is up next.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to the Vice President for stepping in. We did the presentation to Division 3 and 8, and I did the presentation online along with Tangi. Thank you, Tangi. And they couldn't hear it, so he was physically there, and so he was able to impart that information to the folks who were there. So thank you, Mr. Vice President. Also, we still have a couple of things left on the agenda for the rest of the year. Like we said earlier, I'm going to do the Woodlawn presentation, and we have one for January. I think, does anybody else on the subcommittee would like to add anything? Mr. O'Neill, no? Thank you. That's all I have. We do want to get together so that we can decide exactly what our goals are in doing outreach. I know it's to bring the community to let them know we're here, but we also need to decide that if we have target audiences and how best to reach them. So we're going to build a strategy and bring that to the committee, to the board.
Thank you. Next up, legislation and recommendations.
Good evening. You should have two reports from us. One would be, and you may not have it, it was dated for our previous meeting. We sent up our report from our September meeting, so that you would have had that as a read ahead. So I do want to cover that one as well as the one that you would have received most recently for this one. So I do want to make sure that you have that opportunity to recognize that the detailed notes and supporting documents are sent so that you are well informed, and we request that the notes be added with the meeting minutes as well as the inclusion as a part of the artifacts for the meeting. So for the notes that came from the committee, a couple of the highlights out of that report, which you have, you can read through. I'll cover some in additional details, but we're moving forward with a couple of plans and recommendations that the board has heard from us on. We'll get into a specific one in a minute. I do want to acknowledge the subcommittee has general operating procedures. Those include our processes, timelines, and annual deliverables for the board to make sure that we're able to execute those and get those items before the full board for their consideration in a timely manner. One of the items we were discussing, the disciplinary outcomes letter, is one that I definitely want to bring that to the board's attention because there was a recommendation associated with that. The recommendation that we had that we planned to present at the last meeting that was canceled was that we would have a meeting with the ACC in October so that we could get their feedback and input on their processes and procedures for issuing discipline. Unfortunately, we're off of that schedule and not sure if we're going to be able to take that critical step in order to provide the feedback. So that was a recommendation. The subcommittee will be meeting again in a week or so. We can come back to it, but that's one where we wanted to make sure we had input from the ACC before providing a recommendation to this board to consider. Additionally, we were also looking at some of the cases in the final disciplinary outcome. As Mr. Melton discussed, there's something there that the cases and complaints subcommittee is looking at. And so instead of duplicating that effort, definitely going to follow the lead for that subcommittee regarding those final disciplinary outcomes in that focus area that he described earlier. We will also want to bring to your attention a recommendation that we had from our meeting regarding CR Resolution 077-2025, which is concerning a resolution concerning improving policing and driver interactions. It has gone before the Health and Human Services Public Safety Committee, received a favorable vote. The subcommittee for the PAB is recommending that the board encourage a favorable vote on that resolution by the full council. Again, that legislation mentions the board specifically, and so the subcommittee is recommending to the full board that we encourage a favorable vote on that resolution by the full council, of which it has not been calendared yet. So I think that that will be in order. So that's a recommendation we'd like for the board to consider and take up and vote on today. And then that's the draft updated version. Yep, there was a draft version that was discussed at that meeting. That second draft is available, and we have hard copies if you would like to review. It's also available online. Another recommendation out of the subcommittee involved the board members soliciting support for a legislation bill sponsorship that we are proposing. That bill has to do with monthly status reports from the law enforcement agencies. And so again, our next meeting, the full report that is provided to you with the detail is there, but the 3 items that we are looking for is the board's endorsement of the recommendation so that we can proceed with scheduling a meeting with the ACC to discuss discipline recommendations and processes. Second is a favorable vote on CR 077-2025. And then the board members' assistance in soliciting a sponsor for the monthly status reporting by LEA. So that's the first report. Do you want to take on those recommendations now, or go to the second report and then take those on?
You can, go ahead and go through the second.
Okay. The second report that is provided to you as well, dated October 8th, 2025, highlights what we've discussed previously, a recommendation that's existed for a little while, a couple of years now, regarding the conflicting language between the charter and the legislation, enabling legislation for our board. The background is provided to you there, so you see exactly what the charter states versus what's in the legislation. We've done some research on this, spoken with Attorney Camp on this as well, and included discussions with the county attorney's office. What is being recommended is that we submit our proposal through the county charter, the County Charter Review Commission. That commission will be meeting here very soon. They're actually in their process. It doesn't happen every year, so they're currently in their process, and it would be really timely for us to make this recommendation. So specifically, as outlined in the report, the subcommittee is proposing that the full board endorse an adoption of 1, to have the PAB named in section 507 of the charter as an exempted body, 2, have the section of the charter that codifies the Police Accountability Board, and then also specifically calling out aligning the member removal process similar to that which is in place for the ethics and personnel boards. This is timely because the commission will be meeting on November 5th. So we are asking for the board's endorsement of that recommendation so that we can submit that proposal to the Charter Review Commission not later than October 15th.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. James, can you just go over, I know you talked about it before, the implication to the county executive with making this change versus the county council?
So what what I will say is that currently that the way the charter is written, the language states that the county executive would make that decision solely. If you recall, the process for the Police Accountability Board is that there are nominees from the county executive and there are nominees from the county council. In this instance, and then some of the other boards that are reviewed as independent bodies, their removal process requires a recommendation from the county executive and then a 2/3 vote of the county council. So it's inclusive of both sides that go through the approval process. So what we are recommending is something that aligns with the 2 other exempted bodies, which would be a vote, if a recommendation on referral that is approved before it is effective by the county council.
Thank you. I know that Mr. James mentioned, I have had now 2 conversations with the county attorney's office. And we were waiting for this body to vote to come back to the county attorney because they are sort of the conduit to the charter commission for us. So as soon as you all vote, I'll be able to, by tomorrow, if you vote favorably, have another conversation with the county attorney.
So can I make a motion that we accept this recommendation and move forward?
Yes, ma'am.
I so move.
Seconded.
Motion made to accept the recommendations by Mrs. Bryant, second by Mr. Jones, right? Okay. Since he did say no, I think so. So all in favor to accept the recommendations and move forward, say aye.
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 Any opposed? None, unanimous.
So for me, that disposes of one, and then there's still three others. One is the meeting with the ACC on the discipline recommendations and processes. The subcommittee is working on those final disciplinary outcomes assessment. And so in order to make sure that we are equitable and fair in our understanding and decision-making, we wanted the board's consent on scheduling that meeting so that we can get that information and have that perspective from them. We have ours, we have input from the chiefs. We want to make sure we have the perspective and input from the ACC as well before bringing recommendations to this body.
I make a motion that we accept this recommendation and schedule a meeting with the ACC to discuss disciplinary outcomes.
All right, motion made by Mrs. Bryant, is there a second?
I'll second. Oh, boy.
Seconded by Mr. O'Neill. All in favor to accept those recommendations to meet with the ACC for their input, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? All right. Unanimous.
Next item is a favorable recommendation to the county council on CR 077-2025.
I move that we accept that recommendation and support the legislation.
Motion made by Mrs. Bryant to move forward to accept the recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. O'Neill. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Maxwell. Oh,
Aye.
thank you. Okay, so I see Ms. Bryant. Any opposed? No, there's none. Unanimous.
And then the final recommendation from the subcommittee is to garner solicit support from the board members for assistance with securing a sponsor for one of the bills that we are currently moving. So we can circle back with Ms. O'Kenny to kind of coordinate that, but that's where we would like the board members to take an active role in it too.
All right.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve that recommendation.
Motion made to approve the recommendation by Mrs. Bryant.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. O'Neill. All in favor, say aye. Oh, and just raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, any opposed? None. All right, thank you. Is that it?
Yes, that concludes the report. Again, reports are provided to you if you need additional language or clarity on the matters. Please feel free to read.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to the next agenda item, under old business. First, I know we have the annual report, and I wanted to ask, were there any additional categories other than the ones that we had for the previous annual report that we wanted to add? Okay, so we'll know that what we're working with to compile that and put that together. So what I'd like to do is, at our next meeting, if we could kind of focus on the annual report so we can make sure that we get everything that we have to the staff so they can take a look at it as well. Is everybody okay with that? Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part of your statement.
I said that if we can get everything, if we have any additions that you want to have for the categories, we can have that stuff and all of the subcommittees, what they may want to start putting into the annual report, we can bring that to have that ready, so that we can have, present that to the staff as well, and we can discuss that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next up was the strategic plan. You was talking? What, you want to talk about strategic plan? All right.
I think the last time, Mr. Chair, we talked about it, we will revisit it at this meeting in the strategic action plan. I think Mr. Melton made good on his task to send out an updated dashboard, and that went out on the 10th, and I think you were going to address the action plan at that September 24th meeting.
Well, since I don't remember, I don't have anything on that. Is it okay to table that for the next one? Would you like that, or you want to present something?
Well, what I will say about it is, me and one of the subgroups actually, just took a few minutes to review the dashboard, and we recognized there were included, what at that time were some annual goals that were completed, one of which was to complete like a community-based survey. So that's done. So, and then there were some things that probably aren't gonna happen. So I think the dashboard does need a review and probably would need to be edited. So I say all that to say it's not current.
Have a hand up.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just to add on to that, in reviewing it, it looks like there is a lot of items listed but there aren't any projections or forecasting, meaning some of the things aren't things you could do right now, but might be something to move towards, like it could have had a year out projection. Some are like within this year's quarter. So there was just I was mentioning it's just a line item of task, but there is no strategic plan in terms of when to address along with timelines. And so, but there's a list of a lot of tasks. And as was just stated, there are some things that have been done. There are some things that haven't been touched. And there are some things that probably have been touched but aren't recorded. So it just looks like it's a good line item list, but just hasn't really been worked through yet.
Okay. Yeah, so you did say they need to be updated, right? Today, did we lose them?
No.
Okay, oh, okay, sorry, we had this big thing on the screen, so we apologize. All right, cool. So, Ms. Monk, you did say that the dashboard needs to be updated. Okay, so we can go back in, and I thought you had talked about that before, about having things added to that, whoever was taking on that part, so.
Yeah, it was just initially, how often do we plan to do it? We had some items quarterly and we had some annual. So that's all that dashboard was listing what was due each quarter and what was due at the end of the year.
Gotcha.
And so those items just need to be updated.
And to Ms. Maxwell's point, you know, the strategic plan is a couple years old. So some of those things we need to look at and make a decision if we are going to do them or aren't going to do them. I mean, if they're overcome and we need to change and shift, and we need to have that discussion. So we're putting our resources and our time. But we spent a lot of time developing that plan. We invested in that. And then let's see if it's going to yield something. If not, we need to change the trajectory.
I'll just add too, I think we're probably in a better spot on this too, because like at the time of the development of the plan, we didn't have subcommittees really. We didn't really have like smaller bodies of us doing, sectioned off work. So I think there are some things maybe haven't been done yet, but now, in that responsible field, I think we do have some opportunity to delegate some of that to some of the subcommittees. So yeah, but all that to say, agree with everyone. It definitely deserves a once over.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
So does that mean like the next meeting, you said it was gonna be dedicated to annual report?
Yes.
But I guess we would have to add this to talk about the annual report before, should, I guess the next meeting be.
We can add that onto the agenda for the next meeting. Yeah, that's not a problem. But I would suggest again that everybody go in and look at it again, so we can be prepared to discuss it.
I'm just, maybe I'm looking at it, because I'm saying that strategic plan was to take stuff from that, complete the annual report, right?
Well,
In some cases.
yeah.
Meet
So
some of the goals.
the idea is that the strategic action plan will guide your action throughout the year.
Right,
You
yeah.
ain't been using it. So ideally, you would have hoped that would have informed how you fill out your annual report, because you did all these different things. I mean, we were doing things, but we just not according to the plan. So the plan getting a look over and an update.
That's all I'm saying, it's just looking it over and see, well, we ain't doing this, but we can put this, if we doing this, and we did this, and we accomplished this year,
Yeah.
we put it in there.
But the plan may include things we still want to do that we
Right.
didn't do. So it may not be a one-to-one, but I would ask if there's anyone willing, well, everyone should do another look But I think I would ask if there's someone who isn't as busy, who might be able to do a look over and make recommendations about things that we include or exclude as part of the update, and then we can all have that conversation.
I mean, I think Mr. Sanchez is about to speak.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that on then. I'll take a look at the strategic plan and we can go by it, but we can go piece by piece through it in our next meeting, but I can have recommendations for, I think, some of the pieces where they should go and some things that may just no longer be relevant.
Thank you. I think that would be good.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Thank you, Mr. Melton. All right, anyone else? Next item will be the HB appointments, as well as the discussion of a particular case.
I make a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel matters related to the AHB appointments and to discuss a case that involves private matters for the larger board to discuss. I'm
Second.
saying anything specific about the case, so.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion made to go into closed session
Second.
to discuss personnel issues and to review a particular case made by Mr. Melton. It was seconded by Mrs. Bryant. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay. I'll be our closing statement. Today's date is October 8th, 2025. The time is now 7:18 p.m. The location is, members are attending the meeting in person at 9200 Basin Court, Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and we have several members attending the meeting virtually via Zoom. The motion was made by Mr. Melvin and seconded by Mrs. Bryant. All members were in favor. The purpose for us to go into closed session is to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, and any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individual. At this time, the committee will be in closed session. Then everybody else, the committee will come back into open session for those people. All right, thank you. We are now back in open session. The time is now 8:18 p.m. 8:18 p.m. Moving on to the next agenda item. Do we have anyone that signed up?
No, you gotta.
Oh, okay, that's,
affirm.
okay, so, do we have to affirm first? Do I need to take a motion to confirm the actions taken?
Yeah.
Okay, so, we wanna, is there a motion to confirm the actions that was taken in the closed session when we discussed personnel inquiry, that we went into closed session to discuss about that inquiry, and also to discuss the AHB appointments of particular individuals. Then also we discussed how to transmit correspondence back to the inquiry and to make sure that all law enforcement agencies follow the process.
Mr. Chair, I would ask that you do them separately. Have somebody make a motion that we agree to the 9 or whatever.
Okay.
The summary. Each have them do.
Okay, so is there a motion to agree to the 9 HB members that we discussed for potential?
I make a motion to affirm the 9 AHP candidates that we have referred for interviews.
Okay. Motion was made by Mr. Melton, seconded by Mr. James. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Second that. We want to, is there a motion to confirm the actions that were discussed concerning the personnel inquiry that the board received and that we're going to respond to?
I move to affirm the actions of the board to take on regarding personnel matter. Sorry, discussed during the closed session.
Thank you, sir.
It's still to respond.
And
To
to,
the
To respond to the inquiry that was received.
thank you, Mr.
Second.
James. And Vice President. Second by by Mrs. Maxwell. All in favor to confirm those actions, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. And I think those were the only two items that we discussed in closed session. Thank you. Okay. No. Was there anyone that we signed up, they wanted to have a public comment, 2 minutes? Okay,
We had another chief.
so, we didn't have anything, that announcements. I wanted to announce that I received the resignation of Marsha Ridley, so she's no longer a member of the Police Accountability Board. She had stepped down, so we'll see that. We'll be posting that. I'll be sending that out, sorry. I had nothing else. Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Oh, Annie.
I just have two things to bring up. Zoe's Law, which is, I had brought up initially to you all that hadn't yet been calendared, which is now been calendared for October 16th in front of the Health and Human Services and Public Safety Committee for hearing on October 16th at 1:30 p.m. So I wanted to bring that to your attention for that day, for those who want to, and I will also send out probably in the next week the Zoom link for those who want to attend virtually. And then there is a new bill in front of the County Council, which is CR 109/2025. And that is a resolution concerning adequate public safety response time test task force for the purpose of establishing the adequate public safety response time task force to thoroughly examine the methodology, data accuracy, and real-world application of the existing response time test and recommended necessary revisions or alternatives that more effectively align with public safety goals and current resources. So basically, they're testing the response times for public safety response in our in the county. So that
I did want to say something about that.
Okay.
That really was a developer bill. There's only one district right now that doesn't pass. We're the only jurisdiction in the country. It seems like who does this test. So what that test does, and is always behind, has caused a number of developments to not to go through. So the development community has been meeting with the county council, and this came as a result of trying to make sure, but it's only one right now. But the thought was to get rid of it altogether and use some other methodology so that it really aligns with whether you can have a development.
Thank you, Ms. O'Gani.
Sure.
Okay, and thank you again for the presentation. We will take a look at it. I apologize, but thank you again. I know you're gonna send it out probably 30,000 times, right? So we do have to, so again, thank you for that. Thank you for being patient. That was it. I was gonna ask you, yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to remind you all again about Chiefs meeting November 12th. If you have questions or something, you want to change the questions up, let me know so I can send those out to the chief.
November 12th was the Chiefs meeting. Mrs. Rose reminded us about that. Okay.
And I think, as we discussed, we might want to make sure that our questions are applicable to the chiefs who are attending. So we need to make sure if our data is there, you know, what do we want to do if we want to do that?
Got those questions. Those are specific for those.
If it exists.
Okay.
And then my final statement is, you know, we as a board have adopted rules and procedures, and I would ask that we adhere to those rules and procedures that we've adopted. We canceled our meeting and it didn't follow that process that this board adopted. And I think that it's important that as we are holding others accountable to following the processes and procedures, we do the same.
So, and speaking about the meeting, I did get, late correspondence from several members. And so we would only have, I think, 3 or 4 members that would show up. And so that's why I sent the email to Mrs. Rowland and staff to send it out so that everybody at least had some time. I know that the rules and procedures were there, but there are going to be some exceptions that happen. A lot of things going on, and a lot of people that I spoke with on the board, some of them went to some of the CDC events that were around that week. So that's why that meeting was canceled.
Understood, but we have rules and procedures, and we also adopted rules that talk about attendance. And so that would have been an opportunity to capture that attendance as well. So the rules and procedures exist. And again, we're holding agencies accountable. We should hold ourselves accountable to the rules that we have adopted as well.
100%, and I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
We got to do it.
So, and I'll say this, that when we talk about transparency, I think that it's important that we speak about transparency, not just with law enforcement agencies, but also the inner workings of the board, right? There's some things that I think needs to be discussed, but we'll discuss them in a future meeting. But I think that it's important that when we look at working together, that we work well together. I will say this, that for me, there have been some things that during my tenure as the chair that I've had to deal with that I think were personal attacks. I think that I've dealt with some things that are personal vendettas. What I hear outside of some members of this board is that we are doing good work. I hear from the state, I hear from elected officials. We're doing good work, but I would advise any person, any elected official that has the ability to appoint people, that we appoint people to be in agreement at times. It's okay to disagree, it's never okay to be disrespectful. That's one of the things that I always say. Some of the things that I have personally dealt with as the chair, I've been very disrespectful. When we talk about we talk about transparency. I've tried to keep it just in-house. But I've had conversations with the majority of the members on this board and that's about different things, path that we want to take. And I think that it's important that while we can definitely disagree, we don't want to be disrespectful. I will say this in closing, is that my fight is not with anyone, any person, but my fight is for everyone in this county. And so with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn, and then we can move on.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Oh, I see it. Motion to adjourn by Mrs. Springs. Is there a second? Probably from Ms. Maxwell, I believe.
All right, I'll second.
I thought just second by Mrs. Maxwell to adjourn. All in favor to adjourn, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Meeting adjourned at 8:28 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. I'll see you, Mrs. Springs.